Hello everyone. And so this week I had a package bounce back to me that I had sent out. Someone had forgot to put in their apartment number in New York City. So it come back and look at now mind you, this had been in the mail for 9 days. Looks like it's been to hell and back. I want to take the opportunity here to show you guys how to acclimate your new shrimp. Specifically, how to acclimate your new shrimp from Marshall Aquatics. So, stick around and see what we got here. This will be fun. First, let's see if they're even alive. So what had happened here is this guy forgot to put his apartment number and his address. And we tried to get a hold of the post office. Said, hey, he just tried to deliver it yesterday. It said insufficient address. So we tried to get a hold of the post office. And they tell us it's already been sent back. Well, looking at the tracking information, it ended up just sitting at the New York post office for a bunch of times. And look at this. The box was smashed and some of these shrimp are still alive. So we're going to have to do something. There's like almost no water in here, but the shrimp are moving. So that's interesting. Let's see what we got in the full bite. Oh. There's moss. And we got all live shrimp. So this is 9 days in the mail. Leaked the bag from the box getting utterly destroyed. So let's see what we end up here with. First thing we're going to need here, this just got a little bit interesting. We have our container here. So this will be a little bit interesting. I'm going to try to get this on camera. So first thing we got to do is we're going to open up the one that still has, and then rinse off. Now these are breather bags. You do not want to float these. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to the sink and I rinse all the dust and stuff off, but do not float these. The thing you want to do is make sure you hold it up over the container you're going to acclimate in, and boom. Look at that. Make sure we got all the shrimpies in there. All are alive and looking pretty good. Pretty cool thing is, I don't know if any of these are dead. That just goes to show you how tough Neo-Caridina shrimp are. So what I'm going to try to do here is get all these little shrimpies out of here. They ain't even wet anymore, they're just wet. They don't even have water anymore. Alright, get all the moss out of here. I'm going to slowly cut this without hurting any shrimp. So normally, if UPS didn't, this should not happen. But this has been in the mail, bouncing around New York City and Texas. Is this one dead? This one might be. Yeah, that one's dead. Let's see here. This one's still alive. So I'm going to dump a little bit of this water in here. Gotta rinse some of these guys out. This guy is still alive, but it's stuck in between the fold of the bag. Oh, come on. You still alive? Yep, still alive and buried. Nice. So, that's all of them. Okay, so now what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna dump some water out of this container, just enough to keep the shrimp wet. Unbelievable. Ended up with no dead shrimp that I can, yeah, there he is. He's still dead. He's still dead. So we got one dead shrimp out of 18, I remember this order. 18 red shrimp. So he kind of looks like he's trying to come to, but he's not moving. He's not moving. Alright. Goodbye, little shrimp. He just died too, because these are just one shrimp. They all will die. One dies. Or they'll all eat the dead one. And it don't stink. So he probably just recently died. That's pretty awesome right there. Now let's get to the drip acclimating part. Okay, so the things we got ready. We got our shrimp, just a little bit of water left. We've got an airline tubing with a little valve. And we've got a air stone. Let's see how we're going to make this all work to acclimate our brand new shrimp. Okay, so this is basically a controlled siphon we're doing. So this is the tank that the shrimp will be going into, and down below, notice I said below, the container that the shrimp are in has to be below the tank that you're putting them in for the siphon to work. It's just gravity. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're putting an air stone right here. I did a little suction, and now we're going to adjust this flow. Here we go. And we got drip, drip, drip. Acclimate to their new water. See how these guys look. And depends how long that takes. I usually don't let it go more than a couple hours. But if you think your water parameters are different, are way, way different, if you have significantly really hard water or significantly really soft water, you may want to take an extra 4 or 5 hours to do this. And you don't need to float the bags again. You cannot float breather bags. And so this will do the water parameter acclimatization, and it does the temperature acclimatization all in one. So you don't need to worry about doing temperature and then doing that. So this does temperature and water. So we're just going to let that slowly fill up. Now keep in mind, looks like we might have another one that's dead. Yeah, I think that one might end up being a goner. Well, considering that bag popped. Are you alive or not, man? Oh, he's alive. I think, barely. I think everyone else is still alive. And you can see it just drip, 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 drip. Turn this down even more than I'd have it right now. Probably something like that for this small of a container. Here we are about an hour in, about halfway done. I did pull out one more dead one, and there's a couple of them I'm not sure, like they'll move every once in a while. Some of the little males that were in the bag that had popped, but we saved most of them. So out of all these shrimp, 9 days in a male and a popped bag, which seems to only happen in New York City and Texas anymore. We have, you can see the colors are coming back. They're getting good. I imagine that shipping water is pretty nasty, but you really want to, you really need to acclimate your shrimp. I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, I just dump them in and they're fine. Well, I was one of those people when I first got into shrimp, and I wouldn't have a lot of losses, but I would have a couple losses usually in the first few days every time I got new shrimp when I first started. Well, then when I started acclimating, like this right here, the last however many times I've got shrimp, I've not lost any. This is one of the ones I thought might not be so good, but he's coloring up, starting to move around. I'll just gather it up in the moss, but I think that'll be 2 or 3 losses out of, I think the guy ordered 18 and I sent 20. And so out of 20 shrimp, 2 or 3 dead ones with 9 days in the mail and a pop bag. Be another one right there. So we might end up losing 2 or 3. The reason why acclimating these shrimp matters, shrimp are sensitive to changes in water hardness. So, and chances are you're not going to have the same water as the person you bought your shrimp off of. So this is why we do this. Alright, so here we are, almost 2 hours later. Now I want to remind you, now these are my shrimp coming back from the same tank they come from. They've just been sitting in a bag for 9 days. So really, this whole process was just for the video, but you really do want to start off slower than I started off. Now overall, my process ended up being about perfect. I usually do about 2 hours, and this is about as full as I'd want to get this thing. So, and remember, we started off, just all the way down to there. So over the course of 2 hours, it's in 90% water. I mean, I can let it go a little bit longer, but like I said, if you wanted to extend it out a little bit longer, you could slow it down, and like I said, extend it up to like 4 or 6 hours. But the shipping water really is pretty bad, especially after 9 days. These guys are really starting to struggle. Well, the ones in the full bag were fine. The ones in the pop bag, it probably, obviously it probably popped on the way back to me. It's probably when it got popped, because I could still feel the moisture in there. It's set. They told the guy it's already on its way back, and the tracking didn't update for 5 full days. And then after it started its way back, it was back to me in 2 days, the same as it would going. So they told him it wasn't at the post office. If he would have got them in 2 days, they all would have been just fine. They would have just been fine. It's a long time to sit in the mail. And who knows if it might have been sitting at the bottom of a pile. That's probably how it got smashed. It's probably sitting all the returns at a New York City post office. Got the heck crushed out of it. I'd say overall, out of 18 shrimp ordered, there's over a dozen in here that are good still. And I'd say they've been through a fairly dramatic. The one thing they had going for them was it's fall, so they weren't really exposed to too many temperatures extremes, other than obviously it's just my tank. But here's something to think about if you're ordering shrimp from someone else. And I know I don't have any of these things, so I'm not worried about it. But you really want to, I've heard of a lot of people getting hydra and planaria when they use people's shipping moss, when they try and keep it. Now I know you probably got snail eggs on mine, but you're not gonna have any planaria or hydra. So I know I am safe, but if it was me, I would probably not use the moss, just because it's good sanitary practices, and if you did use it, it would need to be properly quarantined if you're from anybody. Now, since it's myself, I'm not worried about it. Good, proper practice. Right now, if I got something from my very best friend, you know, I would still quarantine it just because, and treat it with fenbendazole and all that good stuff, just because you got to be super crazy about that kind of stuff. And that's why I personally haven't ordered any new shrimp in over 4 years, I think. It's always just been about making more of what I've already got. I already had lots of really good lines, just need to make more of them. I'm going to breed them to try to make a living off of them. And they are, you can see, they're all just like, oh my gosh, please, we're trying not to die, to now they're darting around and swimming around. And it's starting to color up and look really nice. Alright, let's see if I can pull this off. Getting the moss out of here on camera. And then removing the shrimp. Get off there, you ding dang shrimp. Get off there. I'm going through all this just to show you guys. This is what you probably want to do. Then if you want to keep this moss. Now, I can tell you I don't have planaria. I don't have anything that I know of. But if I was getting shrimp from anyone else, it didn't matter who it was. It didn't matter if it was the best shrimp keeper breeder in the whole entire world. They would still be quarantined. Or if they'd probably have their own tank, I bought new shrimp. So in that sense, it would be quarantined. So I wouldn't be adding it to anything else other than what it's going into. If you're adding it to another population, then you definitely need to quarantine any new shrimp, plants, or anything you add, so you're not catching and spreading. I just don't get new stuff anymore. I'm too paranoid these days. If I did get anything new, they would go through a very strict isolation protocol, quarantine. For a long time. And I'd probably treat them with a round of fenbendazole anyway. But I'm super crazy. So, when it's not just a hobby anymore and it's your living, it makes you go insane over stuff like this. So, I'm just going through the process as if. Now, there's a few bits of moss in there still. And I'm just gonna say, you know, it's cool. Alright. So we don't want to add that nasty shipping water to our tank. I gotta do this off camera. Well, let's see if we can manage this. This great big giant net. I gotta do some work to this tank. The moss on the sponge has gotten out of control. Alright. So, they're in the tank. Whew. So we saved most of them. All of the ones in the good bag were good. I think we saved over half the ones that were in the bad bag. But I think there's about 14, 15 shrimp in here. Close to it. Back to where they started. Back to where they was born and bred. Back home again. Some of them are really coloring up. That's the buried female that was stuck in the... Well, it looks like there's a couple, 2 or 3 buried females in that bag that we saved. So it'll end up being alright. Those guys will give me... Those girls will give me some babies. Ship them off. And they come back. I guess it's always cool if you get, like, even though you didn't count on getting them, you get a bunch of buried female shrimp. That's pretty cool. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.